Cooking from the Heart is brought to you by Centera Cancer Network. For more information about cancer care at Centera, call 888-220-2214.
And we are back in the kitchen. I had a fantastic time earlier this week learning how to shop for really healthy food at a typical grocery store. And I am ready to take that knowledge and put it into action. Now here to help me today, I have a very special guest. I have Dr. Gowder, who is from Virginia Oncology Associates, which is part of Centera Cancer Network. Thank you, Dr. Gowder, for joining me. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Me too.
Are you ready to do some cooking?
Yes.
Well, we are going to start with a very healthy overnight oatmeal. So as we get started, we're going to start with oatmeal. And these are old-fashioned oats. Let me stick this over here. These are not the quick cooking oats, which a lot of people use. You need to use the old-fashioned. And it's very simple if you remember a quarter cup. That's kind of our main measure. So I'm going to ask you to put a quarter cup of these oatmeals into each of these little mason jars. And these are going to be great because you're going to shake it up at the end and pop them in the fridge. It's super simple. Oatmeal first, a quarter cup. So tell me, doctor, what exactly is an oncologist?
So a medical oncologist is someone who takes care of patients who have cancer. And most of what we do involves seeing patients who have cancer and chemotherapy treatment. But my role is a little different. I'm actually a cancer prevention specialist. So most of my patients don't have cancer. They're at higher risk for some reason. It could be family history, it could be genetic mutation. And our goal is to focus on screening and prevention and trying to keep them from ever needing chemotherapy.
Great. Well, as we continue with our oatmeal, the next thing we're going to add are chia seeds. And these are these little tiny seeds. They are incredible. They're a superfood. And what they do is they suck up water, and they about 20 times their weight in water. And they become kind of a gel. So if you can add 1 tablespoon to each of those. Another thing, I would start with a tablespoon or maybe even half a tablespoon when you first start eating chia seeds, because your body is adjusting to all this fiber. If you do more than that, your friends might be a little unhappy with you during the day. We are going to make these a bunch of different ways. So it's not just one recipe. You can really customize these according to what you like. And this is where you kind of have to work fast. So let me get everything situated here. And tell me a little bit about how you screen for cancer.
So the number one best test for screening for colon cancer is colonoscopy. You know,
Ooh, I've heard about that. I haven't had one done yet, but I know I need to.
Which is true, and the key thing to know is colonoscopy is absolutely the number one best test, because not only can you screen for colon cancer, you can prevent it as well. Over time, everyone's going to have a little extra growth in the colon, a polyp. Mm-hmm. Some of them might turn into cancer. We don't know which ones will and which ones won't, but if you have a colonoscopy and the doctor sees a polyp, they'll take it out and you don't have to worry about it anymore. The biggest thing that I want folks to think about is I want every adult to know when is your next colonoscopy or your first colonoscopy due, because that number can be different for every different person. It's not the blanket 50-year-old recommendation.
I did. I thought it was like 45, 50.
Yeah, so I mean, some groups, American College of Gastroenterology talks about potentially starting screening African Americans at 45. But the biggest driver of whether you need a colonoscopy sooner is if there's a heavy family history of colon cancers or related cancers, or if you have some kind of concerning symptoms.
Oh, great. So to this chia and oatmeal, we're going to add a quarter cup of milk. You can use regular cow's milk. I like to use either almond milk or cashew milk, because cashew tends to be a little more creamy than almond milk. But they're fewer calories and they do have a lot of calcium. So if you wouldn't mind pouring a quarter cup, this is almond milk, in there. And then to that, we're going to add a quarter, just scoop it on in there, a quarter cup of yogurt. All right, it gets a little messy. And then this is my favorite one. I call it my pina colada oatmeal. You're going to add to that a tablespoon of shredded coconut. And shredded coconut does tend to have more sugar.
You need to be pasture.
No, that's fine. But since you're only adding a tablespoon, it's not so bad. And then we're going to get that quarter cup again. We're going to add a quarter cup of pineapple to that. And then for a little added sweetener, I like to add maple syrup. You can add a couple of teaspoons if you want. I like one. For me, it's enough. I'm going to close her up and give it a shake. You can stir it if you like. You can shake it. But the nice thing about these little jars is you close them, and that's it. You're going to put that in the fridge for about 6 hours. And you can see the little dark spots. Those are the chia seeds, and those are going to get big. But everything's going to get nice and soft. That oatmeal is going to get soft and really infused with the flavor of the pineapple and the coconut. So let's just put together a couple more. So what might be some signs I would look for that would, cause alarm and make me think I need to go to the doctor and check this out?
One of the main signs is abdominal pain.
Oh.
Or changes in having bowel movements. Changes, things like more constipation or pain with having a bowel movement or blood in the stool.
Oh, that's scary. Okay, so now we're gonna do one that's a little bit different. I'm gonna add some cocoa powder, actually. You're gonna add some cocoa powder to that and give it a stir, and that's just gonna give it a nice chocolatey flavor. One thing you can do is you can take flavored yogurts already. I'll give you that to stir it with. And really mix it in because those chia seeds are gonna start to get a little hard.
And how much cocoa powder is this?
That was 1 teaspoon. And since that cocoa powder can be a little bit bitter, I'm going to add a little bit more of the maple syrup. And then if you can add that milk in there, or almond milk, there. But yeah, I like to use raspberry yogurt sometimes, or strawberry yogurt, just put bananas in there. And then you don't have to put any sweetener at all because that yogurt is pretty sweet. To that, speaking of bananas, we're going to add, let's see, about a 1/4 cup. You can always add more of the fruits if you want. I just kind of like to do about a 1/4 cup of each because I don't want to add too much sugar. You can overdo the sugar and fruits as well. So I like to kind of keep it relatively, no more than 1/2 cup for me. And then I'm also going to add a tablespoon of almonds to give it a little bit of crunch because the bananas are really soft, and so I like to have a little bit of something in there. So I'm going to pull this out, and let's get the lid on there and shake her up. We're almost done.
That was quick.
It took me a little while to get used to because you think of oatmeal and you think it's going to be nice and hot, but they're cold. You pull them right out of your fridge. But after probably the second day eating them, I was hooked, and I have to have them every day. Let's get going on the last one. This one is a little bit different because we're going to use, instead of the yogurt, we're going to use applesauce. So this is a 1/4 cup of applesauce. It's the same amount as you would use for the yogurt. I'm just going to dump that in there. My spoon's a little bit dirty, but that's okay. A little chocolate never hurt anyone. Okay, and to that I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of apples. If you wouldn't mind just kind of, I think that's just a little bit over a 1/4 cup, so you can dump that whole thing in there. Oh, I almost forgot. Because this is applesauce and not yogurt, I am going to add a tablespoon of this almond milk to it, just to give it a little bit more liquid. And the applesauce is actually a cinnamon applesauce, so it has a really nice flavor to it. And we're done. You do the honors, and yogurt hand. I'm going to clear this off while you do that a little bit. Get some room. What can you tell us as far as preventing it?
So one of the biggest things we talk about is exercise. And the spoiler is that things to help you prevent colon cancer is basically what your mother told you when you were growing up. And now it just comes recommended by people like the American Cancer Society. So
yeah, when it's your mother, you just never really give it too much credence, right?
But it turns out she was right. So
it goes fast.
2.5 hours of exercise per week, ideally. Split up any way you want. It could be 1 marathon day. It could be 20 minutes every single day. And then diet is a big part of colon cancer prevention.
Everything in moderation, right?
Exactly.
So these you would put in the fridge overnight or for 6 hours, and this is what they're going to look like. If you wouldn't mind passing me those, we can get those. I want to reach over you. And then what I like to do in the morning is to just put a little bit of granola on there just to give it a little bit more of a crunch. So there is a spoon for you, and just pick which one you want to try.
And so this is pineapple.
Pineapple and coconut. And you can make these any way you want.
Well, that's really good.
Isn't that good? See, and then you can see the little chia seeds have kind of grown in there, and just you can customize it to whatever fruit you want. And this is enough to really fill you up. It kind of expands when you eat it. So what do you think? Think you'll try these at home sometime?
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much for all of your information. And when we come back, we're going to work on some lovely lentil stew.
Sounds great.
Great. After the break, Dr. Gowder is going to help me prepare a lentil dish that your family is sure to love. Don't go away.
Centera Cancer Network.
I put off my colonoscopy thinking I'd never get colon cancer. When I heard the diagnosis, I knew I needed the nationally accredited Centera Cancer Network. Because when it comes to treating colon cancer, it takes a network of trusted physicians with a proven track record and advanced technology and treatment, like minimally invasive surgery and clinical trials.
Skill, experience, technology. The 3 words to remember for one you never want to hear. To learn more, call 888-220-2222.